Paltrocast.
Do you hold that against you being a friend of Melissa's?
No, are you kidding me? She's one of my best friends. I love her.
Exactly. I had the pleasure of meeting her on a press trip probably
Yeah.
like 4 years ago. And
Okay.
who doesn't like Melissa? Simple as
Who
that.
doesn't like Melissa? She's like, yeah, she's like the champion for the human race, right? She's like positive and energetic, and yeah, she's
But who
great.
doesn't like Vanessa Angel? That's the better question here. And hey, the new movie, Johnny and
Oh,
Clyde, when did you actually film it?
we filmed it in September of 2021, actually, when
Wow.
COVID was still happening, or it's still happening, but it was very much affecting sets, and we all had to wear masks and get tested. And but I think it was a strange shoot because Megan was only available for a certain amount of days, so they shot all the stuff with Megan first, and then I think they shot the rest of the movie in a month later in October 2021.
Wow. But besides Megan, besides yourself, pretty star-studded cast. Was this a situation where you traditionally auditioned or you knew a producer?
No, I didn't audition, actually. I got a call from my agent, who had actually worked with the company, the Verity Productions, who was doing it. And they just offered me this part, and I read the script, and obviously my role is right up front, and it's a cameo essentially. But I really liked it. And then I obviously read the whole script, and it was such a wild ride. I'm like, oh, I want to be at the beginning of this wild ride. So yeah, it was a very easy yes for me. And it turns out that the people in Rhode Island that run this production company are so wonderful. And I've done 3 movies with them now. And I call them my Rhode Island family, and they're
Sure.
great. And Tommy DeNucci, who directed, does a lot of projects with them. This was not their first thing together. And he's an actor as well, and he's just incredible. And as you know from the movie, it's such a visual feast. It's just so visually, cinematically beautiful. I think just the colors and the way that it gives that real. It just sort of adds to the craziness of the story, and it sets it almost like a real, but like has a fantastical kind of energy to it as well.
I had the pleasure of interviewing one of your co-stars a couple of weeks ago, not knowing that he was in this movie, Tyson Ritter. Did you know his music before meeting him on the set?
Yes, I did. And actually, I first met him, we did a table read, and he was sitting next to me, and he happened to be a fan of Kingpin. So we started chatting, and he had just had a baby. And so his whole world was sort of upside down. And what a great guy, just so talented. And I follow him now, obviously, on Instagram, and he's a wonderful artist as well. I mean, there were so many multi-talented people in this movie, and Yvonne, I mean, he's just incredibly talented as well, and does like a variety of different things. So yeah, it was a really super talented cast.
You mentioned Kingpin, and of course, that's one of the roles that people first discovered you from. But I mean, come on. Baywatch, years before that. You've been working steadily for decades now. The point where you're in right now, there's usually, when we check your IMDb, there's like 5 to 10 upcoming projects of all time. When you transition from model to actress,
yeah,
is this where you hope to be, or is this just a happy accident?
It's kind of a happy accident, actually. I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail, but it literally fell in my lap. I mean, I had done acting in school, but it wasn't something I thought I was going to do as a living. And then I was introduced to John Landis, who cast me in Spies Like Us when I was 18. And so that sort of just opened the whole doors for me, in the acting community. But I really didn't know what I was doing. So I realized that very early on. And so I went to class, and I actually got into the actor studio, and I really wanted to study, and really, because I know when you've come from a modeling background, it's very easy to be sort of ripped apart and like just,
Sure.
you get these opportunities because of the way you look. And so you don't really have the craft to back it up yet. So I really wanted to back up my talent with a real honed craft. And then I kind of floundered around for a little bit. I was still in New York, and but I never, it's really interesting to now be my age, because I have played, you get 1 or 2 roles, and it's very easy to get typecast, and then you get more offers because of that role you just played. And then before long,
Sure.
really sort of pigeonholed into a certain thing. And obviously my physical attributes, you know, played an important part in the beginning of my career. And then I did weird science, which kind of just like really like amplified that. So it's been wonderful actually in the last few years to be able to play characters that are more my age, like Susan. I mean, she's a really serious journalist, and she has questions, and she's a serious woman. And I didn't used to get to play those kind of parts. And since with the Verdes, I've played two other characters that are very, very real in different movies. And so I'm really enjoying not just being the window dressing and not having the role be about how I look. I mean, I'm not like I'm not sort of saying that that's not a good thing. I understand that it's a visual art and people like to look at pretty people. And I get that. I'm not like disrespecting that, but
no,
it's really nice
to paraphrase something that you're saying there. It's nice to no longer be typecast where they go, well, Vanessa has this many credits, but we know that whether it's a comedy, whether it's a drama, whether it's a spoken role, whether it's a visual thing, we can put her there because we know that she's dependable.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, I really do feel like I've learned, obviously it's been a long journey and I've learned so much, and I feel very like it's a privilege now to get to work. It's a privilege. And I don't think I felt that before. And that's partly just maturing as well. And so my experience shooting the movie or TV show, whatever it is more important to me than the outcome of it, because you can't always control that. Mm-hmm. So it's about meeting the people and about collaborating, you know, artistically with, you know, like Tyson Ritter and Tommy DeNewton, these great people. And you know what comes of that is hopefully a wonderful surprise, but it's just the process that's more important to me now. And it's, you know, I guess it's just, you know, life. It's like you mature, and totally. The things that you lose, you know, that you thought were important as a younger person, you gain so much more in experience. And I know that sounds super cliche, but it really is true.
So it's such a cliche bad thing to learn from your mistakes and grow. That's what you just apologize.
Oh, no, I know, but I feel like there's a lot of that out there at the moment. You know, it's like, you know, self-care and self-love and be your best version of yourself. I mean, there's a lot of messaging with that, but totally. It really, like, I don't know, it's just for me personally, it's really sort of sunk in the last couple of years, particularly of, you know, when things just sort of like come together and you start to see it through a different lens, and it all sort of makes sense, and you look at mistakes you made as lessons, and you can appreciate your life from a different perspective, like seeing the forest for the trees kind of thing.
Totally. Well, two quick questions and then I'll let you roam free. And the first one is, Johnny and Clyde to me is a new movie. To you, it's a not so new movie. Are you allowed to say what you have coming out next, or what we can look for you? Or are you just under Hollywood Reporter embargoes and Variety.com embargoes for now?
No, I mean, I have oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember. I've done like 7 movies in the last year and a half. I have another movie with the Verdes coming out called The Preacher's Wife. And then I did a wonderful short movie called Great White Lies with I'm sure you're familiar with Doug Ellen. He's the creator of.
He went to my high school, Long Island.
Yeah, you're from New York.
High school.
Oh my gosh.
Doug and Amy Fisher both.
That's crazy. Oh my God. Oh, you're a New Yorker then.
Yeah, someone's got to be.
I love New York. I lived in New York for 9 years, so I have that coming out, and then I did another movie called Simon Says. And then another movie called The Charisma Killers, which has kind of got a similar vibe to Johnny and Clyde, actually.
Cool.
And that's coming out later this year. So I have a lot of things going on. Yeah.
Lots to look forward to. And then the last question, our mutual friend in an anecdote told me that you once took her to a Pearl Jam concert. So I know that you have some good musical taste. What's the last concert that you saw for fun?
Oh, the last literally the last concert was a small little concert that Coldplay played in the beginning of 2020, right before COVID. And they were playing at like a small little venue. It was like an extra kind of thing. I think it's called the Palladium down on Sunset. Yeah. That was the last concert I went to, because they kind of all closed down for a while. And I guess I know they've opened up again, but yeah.
So
how about you? What was the last concert you saw?
That's personal. I don't talk about my personal life. So. No, the bottom line is congratulations on Johnny and Clyde, and glad that you have another 6 movies coming out, and really looking forward to all that. Thank you for the many years of great art.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Paltrocast.